Did you know the gods of Olympus once had a messenger who was also a thief, a stand-up comedian, and the world's first ever spin doctor? This is the story of Hermes, the god who was too restless for a throne and too clever for his own good. While Zeus and the other gods debated the fate of the world from their golden hall, Hermes found Olympus, well, a little boring. He preferred the world of mortals with all its beautiful, chaotic mess. He was the god of everything in between, the master of the thresholds, and he loved a good challenge. One morning, Zeus called him. "Hermes, I need something retrieved. Delicately." Hermes, his winged sandals glowing, just grinned. Delicate as in diplomatic, or delicate as in illegal? Zeus smirked. Both. A mortal king had stolen a sacred flame, and Zeus wanted it back without alerting his wife, Hera. For Hermes, this was just Tuesday. He vanished from Olympus and reappeared in the mortal king's palace. He walked straight past the guards, after all you can't see what you don't expect, and into the treasury. There it was, the flame, burning softly in a silver bowl. Hermes scooped it up, but then he paused. That bowl looked pretty nice too. He took that as well. Back on Olympus, he presented the flame to Zeus. Zeus raised an eyebrow. And the bowl? Hermes just shrugged. Consider it collateral. Zeus sighed. "You never stop, do you?" "Would you really want me to?" Hermes replied. And Zeus, surprisingly, had to laugh. The more Hermes traveled, the more jobs he collected. He became the god of merchants, travelers, eloquence, and even pure, dumb luck. Mortals prayed to him for safe journeys and good deals, but he had his own way of answering. He'd often test their honesty first. To a cheating merchant, he might grant a deal that looked too good to be true, only for it to end in disaster. But to the honest, he'd whisper small fortunes into their path, balancing the scales of wit and justice. He was also a bit of a chaotic matchmaker. When a poet begged him to deliver a love poem to a queen, Hermes agreed, but couldn't resist adding a few of his own lines. The next morning, the queen fell madly in love, with the messenger, not the poet. When the poor guy complained, Hermes simply said, "You asked me to deliver your heart. I just delivered mine faster." His mischief wasn't just for mortals. He was the voice of Olympus, carrying messages from the heavens to the depths of the sea, but that voice often had a mind of its own. During one divine meeting, Ares, the god of war, was boasting about his victories. Hermes muttered, just loud enough for everyone to hear, "Victories achieved mostly by tripping over your own sword." The room went silent. Ares glared, but before he could react, Hermes vanished in a flash of light, leaving the god of war fuming. A week later, he left a note on Ares' shield. "Great progress. You almost hit something today." Despite his pranks, Hermes was deeply loved by mortals. He walked among them in disguise, eating their food, laughing at their jokes, and spinning his own legends into campfire stories. He understood the messy, wonderful chaos of human ambition. He once told Athena, "Mortals are more divine than we think. We were born with purpose. They have to invent theirs daily." Athena, the goddess of wisdom, looked at him, surprised. "You almost sound wise." Hermes just smiled. "Almost. Let's not ruin my reputation." Perhaps his strangest gift to the world was the invention of lying. Before Hermes, people spoke only truth or silence. But he realized that a good story, a clever excuse, or a well-placed exaggeration could move mountains. When Zeus scolded him for bringing dishonesty into the world, Hermes argued with such circular logic that Zeus was left speechless. "If mortals lie, Father," he explained, "they will need truth to measure against. In seeking that truth, they will honor us." Genius or heresy? With Hermes, it was always both. He wasn't just a trickster, though. He guided the soul of Icarus to the underworld after he fell from the sky. As they descended, the boy asked, "Was I foolish?" Hermes answered softly, "No. You were human. That's better." He even visited the Titan Prometheus, who was chained to a rock for giving fire to humanity. While Zeus saw rebellion, Hermes saw a kindred spirit. "You gave them fire," Hermes said, and I gave them words. Between us, they will never stop making trouble." Prometheus smiled. "You say that like it's a good thing." "Trouble," Hermes replied, "is how life stays interesting." There was even a time Hermes had to trick death itself. A king named Sisyphus had captured Thanatos, the god of death, and no one could die. The world was in chaos. Zeus sent Hermes to fix it. He found Thanatos chained up and embarrassed. Hermes freed him with a snap of his fingers, then found Sisyphus celebrating his invincibility. Hermes appeared behind him. "You outsmarted death once," he said, his voice calm. "But outsmarting me is just bad business." And with a touch, Sisyphus was sent to his famous punishment in the underworld. For all his mischief, Hermes rarely acted from malice. His pranks had a purpose: to expose arrogance, deflate pride, and remind everyone that laughter was divine armor. He was the balance to the god's stern order. As Hera once accused him, "You create chaos." Hermes simply bowed and said, "Order without laughter becomes tyranny. Someone has to keep the universe from taking itself too seriously." Centuries passed. Empires rose and fell. But the spirit of Hermes, the quick wit, the restless energy, the spark of inspiration, endured. Every time a traveler feels a sudden stroke of luck, or a writer finds the perfect words, or a deal is closed with a clever bargain, they are tapping into his legacy. He was the god who was never meant to stay in one place. His purpose was to keep the stories, the commerce, and the very world itself in constant, beautiful motion. He taught us that chaos can birth creativity, and that sometimes the cleverest trick is simply to keep smiling. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey with the god of mischief, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from mythology. See you next time.